Hey
Cool.
guys, my name is BJ Min, and we're here with a special interview with Jimmy Kim. He's the co-founder of SendLane.com, an autoresponder, and also he's been behind the scenes of a lot of product launches and earning up to $50 million in sales and products sales. So first of all, welcome, Jimmy. I really want to thank you for coming to this interview. I really appreciate your time, and um, please tell us how you got started in internet marketing and how you became really successful.
Hey, BJ. First of all, thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's always a pleasure to be on anything with any internet marketers out there in the world, just to spread the word and being able to talk about what I've done. So you asked me, well, how did I start? So, it's actually a very interesting story how I started. As a young child, I've always been quite entrepreneurial. I was the guy who used to sell the lemonade. I used to be the guy who did the snow shoveling business, the lawn mowing business. In college, I actually I used to make little car parts, and I used to have like employees. Basically, I'd pay my friends to do stuff for me to make these car parts. And I used to have a little business, and my end goal was I was into like that whole car scene. So my end goal was to buy wheels, right? Or something like that. And then I made this product that, I put a sales page, technically a sales page now that I know what it is, but back on a forum back in the day on one of the largest Volkswagen forums in the world, it was kind of cool. Anyways, I was able to do that. Now, I've always been quite entrepreneurial, but when I look back, I started off here's my like story. Okay. Here's what's really fun. So I started off washing cars when I was 16 years old, during the summer, after schools and so forth. And I started working through that. And when I went to college and everything, I started, I still working a part-time job, this part-time gig, still washing cars. By the time I was 18, I was allowed to sell cars. So I started selling cars, and it was really fun. Like the first full summer that I sold cars, I was able to achieve top sales guy in the dealership. And it was really fun. Like I was like, wow, this is really awesome. So, automatically it kind of like threw me right into the car business world. So by the age of 20, I was out and I was looking for something. I started selling cars, and I progressively moved up through the funnel really fast. Basically, I went selling cars. I became a sales manager, then the general sales manager, and then a finance manager, finance director. Eventually, by the age of 25, I was the youngest general manager in General Motors company at that time. It was actually really cool to be there, right? Well, fast forward to age 27, Saturn is what I was working with. That was the brand I was working with. And Saturn was declared into bankruptcy with General Motors, right? So it came out to a decision and that was my kind of like my turning point in my life. So at 27, I was like, all right, do I want to keep doing this? Well, at that time, the owners of the company were like, okay, we want to make you part owners of the store. We want to open a Kia dealership. We want you to run that Kia dealership, and you'll be a part owner of the company as well. And I actually turned it down. I said, I was like respectful about it, of course. And I said, hey guys, I really, really appreciate the offer that you guys gave me, but at this time, it's not what I want to do. I know I'm making multi-six figures a year, but it wasn't for me. I said, I need to make a move. I need to make a move. I need to do something for myself. I know I can do something for myself. So that was back when I was 28. So that was about 7 years ago. Well, at that time, I actually knew a very famous internet marketer. He was actually a buddy of mine, not because of internet marketing, nothing to do with any of that stuff. It was just pure coincidence that he was a friend. I never even knew what he did. That was the coolest part. I didn't even know what he did. We used to do everything else outside of business, because I worked so many hours, he worked so many hours. We used to just go out and party and hang out and have friends and, hang out and whatever, good buddy stuff. So one day I just kind of asked him, this was kind of in that transition period. I said, what do you do? And then he just kind of started talking to me about email marketing, internet marketing. And I was like, it's pretty interesting, like I thought it was kind of scammy sounding and so forth at first. Of course, that's what you think when you think about these things. So I said, you know what, let me see what you're doing. So I kind of watched him and shadowed him and learned it a little bit. But, it wasn't like it was like this, even though you have somebody teach you, until it takes you, right? Until you start taking action and doing it, it doesn't actually work. So it took me I think a year, maybe 18 months or so to really get going. So at this time I had no job. I just decided to screw up the job thing and just attack it at full front. And it was pretty quick. I mean, I don't know if it was 18 months, I could have 15 months, 12 months. I don't know what it was, but it started working. You know what I mean? Like the idea, the concept of email building, list building and all that stuff, it just started working. And come to find out 6 years, if I had hindsight, I did it the long way and the hardest way possible. I took the path of most resistance when I did it, right? Because I didn't have any knowledge. No one was out there teaching exactly what I know, and that was the cool part. So it was a couple years into it. I guess it was 2013 or so when everything had clicked in my life, like everything had clicked and everything was working to the max extreme, You know, I crossed my first 7-figure year in 2013, I think it was. So, you know, that was my first 7-figure net income year, not 7-figure in sales, but net income year, right? So it was pretty cool like that. And, you know, I started to continue to build up from there. That's been the coolest part about that. And that was that year was the year that, you know, I realized I love email marketing so much. My partners and I, we decided to build something really cool. And that's where you mentioned SendLane. So SendLane was something dreamed up. Basically, you know, we've all been through all the headaches with autoresponders, right? We've all been through the headaches. They don't like digital marketers. They don't like affiliate marketers. They don't understand it, which is why they hate it, right? And then there's also the bad apples that kind of ruin it at the same time, right? So we said, you know, we're tired of dealing with these services. And it's been like a motto in our companies. Basically, when we're tired of dealing with services, we create our own. Basically, we're tired of dealing with third-party services that keep continuing to mess up our actual business. We just create our own. So we've got a couple businesses that we're actually creating right now because we're just tired of being dealt with, right? So anyways, fast forward there. You know, it's been a very fun 6 years. As you said before, I've been responsible for over $50 million in online product sales at this time. You know, I've done a lot of behind the scenes. I've been behind the scenes of some of the biggest launches out there in the world that have happened in the last 5-6 years. But, you know, this year, I came out this year and said, you know, I wanna build my brand. And, you know, selling my product at, for example, this product I'm selling for really cheap, right? I'm only selling for really cheap for one reason, because I just want to get out there and kind of bring my presence out there, right? That's the only reason I brought it out for that cheap. And secondly, I mean, selfishly, I want to create a following, a tribe, and I want to teach people to actually make money. So I have testimonials for the next time. Next time, my course won't be as cheap as right now. It'll be $1,000 minimum, you know? So that's really what I'm thinking of right now when I do this. And it was really a selfish play at the same time, but I know that what I'm offering, what I'm teaching will help people. And that's the coolest part about it. So that's kind of like my segment. That's my little story, what happened, how I got there, and what I am now today. So
yeah, and that's an awesome story. It's like, you know, I'm impressed by you is like, you've been in this space for 6 years. That's considered a long time, but you know, there's also been a lot of people who've been in it for a long time, including myself, bro. It's like, and I'm nowhere near where you are. Like, if I just get a fraction, like, what is it about you that separates you from majority of people that made you just skyrocket, you know?
I think my number one thing is I failed a lot. I failed a lot at a lot of different things, guys. I've tried everything, dude. I've tried everything from like the little SEO to, you know, what's that called? PPC to, you know, just about every little angle, traffic angle that you can think of, right? I've tried them all. I've tried all the different things. I've tried to take all the shortcuts too at the same time. That's really the reality of it. I've tried the shortcuts, and guess what? The shortcuts sometimes are very short-term successes, but they always end up failing, right? And that's what I realized. I realized when I kind of stepped back, like, you know, it's one of those times when you realize you do what you're good at the best. And if you're not good at it, hire people to do it, right? You don't need to make your own web pages. You don't need to worry about tech skills. You don't need to worry about customer service yourself. There's a lot of things. Just hire people. And that's what I started learning. I said, you know, if I just start giving the things that I'm not good at to other people, I will be able to succeed at what I'm good at the best. Which I knew what I was good at is best is email marketing, right? I knew how to deliver email. I knew how to get the email, write the email copy, and find the best affiliate offers, right? So I said, let me go after what I'm good at. Everything else I hired. So at this point in my life, I think I have like 10, 12 people on employee now, staff, and they just all work for me and do different things. You know, I'm running a launch right now. As I'm running this launch, I'm talking to you on this thing because I've got 4 people running my customer support on one side, you know, in the US, of course, and that's the coolest part. They're local here in San Diego, and they're running in my customer service for me. So I don't have to do anything as far as that stuff. I can get on little interviews like this. I can talk to my affiliates and JVs privately. I can check my email. You know, it actually alleviates a lot of stress. And this is actually one of the first times that I've brought this old customer service model and stuff into the US this year for myself, for my own personal brand. And it's been actually one of the best things I've ever done in my life. So, you know, the big takeaway here is do what you're best at and hire people that are, and that doesn't mean hire them for your company always. That means like outsource it, you know, go to Odesk, or I think whatever it's called now. I forget what they changed. They changed their name just like 3 days ago or something like that. What is it called?
Upwork.
Upwork. Yeah. I don't know why they changed it. I like Odesk.
Yeah, me too. It's slow, it's faster. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about email marketing. You tested out many things and you found out you're best at email marketing. What are some do's and don'ts of email marketing? Because there's 2 different schools of thought. Some say email less, some say email every day. Like what are some points that you can share with people who will watch this to get results?
Yep. So, you know, there are two thoughts of email. Basically, there's one thought of relationship marketing and then one thought of just blast your list till they die kind of deal, right? There's two way different things. It really depends to me what kind of business, what kind of name brand you're looking for. You know, there's the people that are looking for that quick buck, for that quick look. I mean, when it comes down to it, if you're just trying to do that, just go for it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with emailing as hard as you want every day. I wouldn't recommend emailing 2-3 times a day. You know, with a lot of changes now, since it's now 2015, and when I first started really hardcore email marketing was 2011, the changes are dramatic to what has happened. You know, one real prime example that people don't know, right? Did you know Google SEOs your email now? Did you know that? Yeah. So you know how Gmail is the largest provider of email. Over 80% of anybody's email list is usually going to have Gmail, right? Gmail SEOs your emails, basically. Basically, they take your email, they look at it, and they realize one is a duplicate content. So you know if you copy an email from a JV or an affiliate page and paste it on your thing, did you know that's actually bad for your email delivery because Google will look at that as duplicate content. Did you know when you start sending email, did you know if a person is emailed and you inbox it, right? Here's something that's really fun and more advanced thought process as well. Did you know if you send an email to someone 8 times on Gmail and they don't open an email, that 9th one on forward is going to be considered spam until they open it?
Wow.
That's another cool one right there. So basically what happens there is Gmail is saying it's been 8 times. You've already emailed them 8 times. They haven't interacted with you in 8 times. Why do you think they're going to interact with you in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, right? This comes to deleting and scrubbing lists. You know, when I first heard the idea of scrubbing a list, it just made no sense to me. Like it said, if they haven't responded in 90 days, opened or clicked an email, get rid of it, right? I said, no way, you know? So the first time I did it, I think I deleted like 125,000 people off my email list, right? And I was like, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to save them just in case, but I'm going to do it. I did it, right? The results were amazing. The next time I sent an email out, I got higher open rates. Not because of higher open rates percentages because my list was smaller, but higher open numbers, okay? So actual number was higher, my click rate was higher, and my interaction was higher, and my complaints were lower. It was actually really cool, and I was like, wow, how did that happen? And as progressively as I kept emailing, because I was emailing a more attentive batch, your ISPs know, like Gmail, Yahoo, Bing, all of them, they kind of know that like, hey, this email is getting open more. We should inbox it more often for him. So it started increasing delivery as well. So my inbox goes well. So then I said, you know what? That's smart. Let's just start doing that to all my lists. And I managed a lot of lists at that point. And so I started doing it to it. Some of the biggest internet marketers, I'd be like, hey, delete your list, delete 90 days. If they don't open stuff in 90 days, get rid of it. Straight up.
Really?
Yeah, 90 days. If they don't open or click, 90 days, don't bother. You're just wasting money on the autoresponder cost. You're wasting money on time and energy spent to do that. And you're actually hurting yourself because every time you hit that spam box because they're not opening that email, it's one more ding against your domain name and your continuous downward of reputation. You know, people always talk about sender score. They talk about this. People never think about their own sender score, right? Just because you have a sender score that the ISP has for their IP that they send for you, and this probably starts going over people's heads, but just because you have a sender score like that, there's also a sender score for your own domain that you're sending. So if you're sending from BJ at bjmin.com, bjmin.com has a sender score internally rated with the ISPs. So they look at it and go, okay, this guy has been sending email for X amount of time. He sends this much email every time to Gmail, his score of open rate, his score, and they kind of put you on a ranking there. Wow. It's actually really cool. So there's 2 little tips right there, like 2 or 3 little tips that are like huge tips that people don't tell you. And that's kind of like, you know, I've been contemplating something really big in the last 6-7 months as I was making this other course. I said, you know, someone needs to come out with a very high level email marketing course. And that's something that I've actually been brewing up right now. I've got a cool ass outline. I've got a cool course that I've actually done private mentorships with people before in the past and said, here is what email marketing is to the T right now. But I haven't actually put it into a course format. And I'm actually putting that together because I think it's needed in this world, because the world of email has changed dramatically from the back in the days where you can just opt in a bunch of people and just start spamming it. And the days of like double
like that anymore, huh? No one really talks.
You can't do that anymore. Not at all. Even the days of like double confirmation and stuff, you know, back then everyone hates double confirmation, right? Today, I would say double confirmation may be actually a much better thing for you because at least you know you're getting interaction from them. You know, like that's a really crazy thought that you're thinking of, but think about it, right? That just because you have that email address and someone opts in, if they never interact with you, what good is that email address?
Right.
Right? So
when you throw away the email, do you save it for something else later on, or do you just throw it away?
I save it, but I don't do anything with it. I've got plenty of emails, but no one's opening my email there. What am I going to do with it?
It's really useless, kind of, right?
It is useless. It's trash. It's basically like, take the idea of basically coming into your like office, right? And just throwing away everything you don't use anymore, right? Every 90 days. Think about how clean your office would be if you do. I mean, I'm looking at your picture. Your office is probably really clean. My office is a freaking mess because I got like papers and things and random stuff everywhere because I'm always traveling, coming back, dumping on my desk. But if I just, even if I did this every 90 days, I'd have a much cleaner office, you know? Just that concept, right? Treat it as a business, just like a business. In a business, an offline business, don't people clearance off all their old stuff after a certain amount of time? Why aren't you clearancing out all your old stuff? Get rid of it.
Right.
That's really the end of it. And if you really want, and you want something to do with those, people will buy those emails from you for like a cent or two an email, right? Not really much money, but if you really want to do something to feel like you got something back out of it, there's people that will buy those old emails if you want. I mean, that's all black hat. I'm not recommending it, of course, but that's an opportunity if you want to, for say.
And I took a look at your presentation, your sales page for Build My List. It sounded really simple, 5 steps. And basically, is there certain things I want to ask was like, is there some bad niches to go into and good niches that are profitable in terms of making money online, like that most people are making mistakes on?
Well, you know, this is always the question that gets, it's like the $1 million question. Is there a bad niche, a good niche, and all that stuff, right? So at the end of the day, it works like this, okay? Would you rather be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond, right? So the concept and idea behind it is basically you can go and become the big fish where you're dominating with all the, you know, all the little guys. There's very little guys, or you can go into the big pond where there's a lot of opportunities, but you're just a little fish going in there. I personally like being the small fish in the big pond. Basically, I like to go into the niche that has lots of competition, lots of activity, because you know what that means? There's lots of traffic and there's lots of people that are interested in it, right? So if you go into a really micro niche, like some like weight loss, but not just normal weight loss, but women's over 35 to 40 or something like that, you know, you go really micro like that, what you find in yourself is you start getting limited into a box. Basically, you don't have that much of an opportunity to get out there, right? But when you go into a bigger, more moderate thing. So with that being said, you know, internet marketing, biz op, you know, personal development, what else is there? CPA stuff like insurances and all that. Those are all really great niches just because they're really big and they're simple. There's bigger, better ones like weight loss and stuff. I don't dabble in weight loss, for example, but like weight loss and dating are very big, obviously, right? There's always people who want to lose weight who always want to dabble in dating as well, but it's all about figuring out your micro niche from there because you can't just go after that big niche. You have to go and microize it, right? You got to come into it. You can't go into weight loss. You've got to go into like weight loss to like men over 40 or men 6-pack. You know what I mean? You got to continue down and dive down into it. So just because you're in internet marketing doesn't mean you can just internet market. You've got to dive down a little bit deeper. Affiliate marketers, or you're a paid ad marketer, or you're a media buyer. You know what I mean? You got to go into it and dig into it a little bit more. You could be a brander, you can be social. It doesn't matter which one you end up doing, but you should be in a closed niched group, right? But you got to make sure that niche is still big, right? So there's a lot of traffic and demand out there for it. And besides, you know, as an affiliate marketer, for any of us, you know, we're affiliate marketing, network marketers, any of them out there, you got to be able to promote other people and be able to have opportunity, because just because you have a great product, you just can't continue driving your traffic to your great product. That's great. You can drive all your traffic to your great product, right? But you got to take your traffic and that list you've built and promote something else with it, right? You can't just continue promoting your own product. You got to promote those other products, right?
How often do you promote one product? One per week or 2 weeks?
So I have like a kind of a rule. So I guess it would be about 2 a week, right? So basically I say my rule is I will promote anything that does pretty decent for me 3 times, 2 to 3 times, depending on how well it does. And then I'm done. Real flat out simple, because after that, it doesn't usually convert after that to your list. I mean, you can hound at them, hammer them, get 1-2 sales, but you got to look at your ROI that you're getting back from that list, right? You got to look at your clicks. You got to look at how much you're making from that click for that day. So basically you look at your number of clicks you send, see how much you make, you divide the 2 and get your EPC, of course, your earnings per click. And you got to make sure you're maintaining a solid earnings per click. Just because you're making 1-2 sales every day by mailing the same thing over and over doesn't mean that you're making the most useful demand of your list. And your list gets really tired of stuff, you know, just like you and I, we all have ADD, right? Especially on email and stuff. If you mail the same thing every day, you're gonna get people just pissed off at you, you know?
Really?
So
because I've been taught different things. So it's cool, refreshing to hear from someone who's actually generated 50 million to really hear like it is. We don't hear, you take it for, I think you might take it for granted, but some of us, like, we don't hear your perspective. Like, you know, it's like your first course in a long time, right?
Yeah, well, it's my first course that I've been a face of since 2011. I think it was the last time I put a face on a course. And you know, that was actually really cool. It was actually really fun. As I'm doing this, I'm already getting emails from customers that said, hey, I followed you back in 2011. I'm glad to see you back around, kind of deal. It's actually kind of cool. I've had about 3-4 of my customers. Back then I did a small coaching program. Basically it was a very low cost, low entry barrier coaching program where I took like 6 weeks and basically taught the same thing, but even still was much more complicated than what I have done today. I mean, you asked me earlier about build my list. So basically build my list, 5 steps, real simple, straight up. 1, you learn your list. 2, you set up your autoresponder. 3, you set up your commission programs. 4, you set up your landing pages. And these are all technologies that are already there. We give it to you. All you got to do is click and set it up. And 5, we get you traffic. Real simple. Those are the 5 steps to making money online. It really doesn't get any crazier than that. You know what I mean? You know, people try to skip their way and do all that stuff, but reality is that's the 5 real simple steps. The biggest takeaways from my program is 1, you'll get an autoresponder with sendlane.com for 90 days for free, and you'll get a landing page builder, just a drag and drop, kind of like some of the other big names out there, drag and drop landing page builder. We give you all the words and all that stuff to put into the copy, you know, tested copy. So it says, hey, put this in here, put this graphics here, this thing converts at 48%, blah. You know, I've tested them, you know, I give them to you. And then the last thing is traffic, right? So I give you all the sources. I give you some free traffic methods and paid traffic methods. Now, you and I both know paid traffic is the winner out there. No matter what anybody says, free traffic is a pain in the butt, right? I mean, you know that. It is. It's a pain in the butt. You can drive and do it. You can do these shows like this. You can do these forums. You can do all sorts of different things, SEO, blogs, and everything. But let's face it, at the end of the day, it's a pain in the butt. It takes a lot of work and energy to do it. Paid traffic is like the most simple things. You pay a couple bucks, you slap a link on it, you slap an email swipe to them, or whatever you end up doing, or Facebook ad, and all of a sudden you got traffic. You know, that's so much easier, right? So I teach them a couple cool paid traffic ads outside of the typical ways, right? Outside of the typical solo ad work, outside of different things. You know, I teach something about Reddit. Like, a lot of people don't think about Reddit. It's the world's largest blog, right? It's the world's largest interaction blog. Did you know you can buy clicks on there for like 75 cents a click there through really target internet marketing? Yeah, most people don't know that. It's actually really cool. You can do a lot of little things like that. I also give access to very big discounts to it. So one of the services that one of my partners has that's been really cool that I've been using to refer a lot of my other customers is a traffic network that he uses, but it's not like the typical solo traffic. Basically, you order clicks and we fill clicks from like a huge batch of people, all tested people, and say, here, you want 1,000 clicks, basically, this is the cost. And then we go out and source all that 1,000 clicks for you from probably 4, 5, 6 people, you know, like instead of the typical one person sending you all that, right? And then I also have a really cool network with one of my other partners that is a traffic guy, but it doesn't actually deliver his own traffic. He just sets up a thing where he utilizes where you can connect with other people that sell traffic, but in a very secured network that's private, that's not like the typical solo ad world out there, that delivers and promises you a certain amount of clicks, of unique clicks, and of clicks that are in a very precise niche. So it's actually really cool, and there's reviews, there's things, and I'm actually in there selling traffic of my own for my personal development niche in there. So like, it's actually really cool. Like, you can actually buy traffic from me in that network.
Right.
So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, can you also talk about the upgrades? Like, maybe they want
yes, of course. So I've got 2 upgrades in there, and that's actually been a question that everybody's asked. So let me just pull them up real quick and make sure I have the right ones. I always confuse myself between the 2. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So there's 2 upgrades. Basically, there is my OTO1, which is my copy and paste profits, right? So copy and paste profits is actually what it sounds like, right? Basically, I'm going to give you 3 things, right? They're going to get, yeah, just making sure. They're going to get the 20. You're going to get access to a cool case study I did back in, I guess, August last year, right? It's called my $25,000 case study. I kind of talk about it a little bit here and there and dabble and tell you what it is, but I really dive into it with my case study. Basically, like, show you the pages, show you exactly what I did, show you A to Z, right? Secondly, I add more done for you businesses up front. You get like 10 of them. On the copy and paste profits, I add 20 more to it, right? So that you have a lot more done for your businesses, so that you have more that you can turnkey. I also include my BML brander. So basically, the idea and concept behind my course also is, hey, you bought the course, you really like the course, and obviously I was able to teach you a lot of stuff. Why don't you take my course and call it your own? I have a thing called a brander. Basically, you drop your affiliate link in there, and it changes all my reports and everything, and basically it gives you the ability to sell my course, get 100% commissions through the entire funnel. So anything you sell, the front end, if you sell the $49 front end or any of the upsells, you get 100% commission straight paid to you, right? So that I don't, you can sell my course as your own, basically allowing you to do that. So those are the three things you get with the first upsell: the ability to sell my own course, to 25K, and the 20 done free business. So it's action packed. The second one is my elite inner circle. Now that's my fun one right there. You're gonna get priority support. So first of all, if you send a support ticket, your tickets get right bumped to the top, which is really cool. You get 10 weeks with me and my coaches. Basically for the next 10 weeks, we're gonna get on a call every week and just basically talk about things that are working, do Q&A, discuss your pages, dissect your pages, and it's basically a group setting, right? And I always say if you can take a group together and promote something together, right, you can always do better with as a group as opposed to by yourself, right? So if you're sitting there by yourself trying to do something by yourself as opposed to listening to a group, you're gonna get kind of motivated. Just like you go to live events and so forth, right? You go to live events because you're in a group setting, everyone's all pumped about the same thing, and you can get going as soon as you come back, right? So we take that idea and say, hey, let's just take it to a webinar series. You come in, you get excited, and you work all week, and then we pump you up again the next week, right? And that actually comes back to my front end. I actually do something called daily power calls. Every day from, I think noon, well, it depends where you are in the world, but noon to about noon 30 in the Pacific Coast time, we get on these little calls. It would be myself, any of my coaches, basically. We just kind of talk and motivate you, get you going, get you energized for the day, right? It's like get you energized, maybe drop you a traffic tip every day, except for Tuesdays, which would work because we're doing coaching calls. But every day besides that, Monday through Friday, we're actually getting on these calls and being like, yo, get on this. Today's word is take action, right? And then when we say take action, talk about taking action, and then we'll talk about traffic or whatever else we want to talk about. All right. Oh, and then we'll go back to the elite inner circle. Sorry, went tangent. Elite inner circle. The third thing you get prior access to me. So basically, a lot of times when you have a product owner, it's very hard to get a hold of the product owner or the person, right? So I drop you my email address. Basically say, here's my email address. You can have it. But if you abuse it, I'll tell you straight up in the video, if you abuse it and start sending me questions about how your sob story or how it's sunny in New York or something like that, I'm probably going to stop responding to you. But I'm very fair. I have an email address set up to talk and respond to. It's up in my screen. I've been responding to him today already. And, I wake up and I'll check him every couple hours. I'll go back in there and check it and respond as I can. And I think it's really cool just to be able to connect. I mean, I just think back, if I could connect with anybody when I was starting off, it would have been really helpful, especially if you can just get one little tip from that person. Like, if I would have had been told a long time ago that if I just focused my energy on my one good thing that I know I'm good at right now, then I would have moved a lot faster in my life with internet marketing, right? So that's how I look at it. So that's my part of my second upsell. Those are just two upsells. I don't have some huge upsell downsell process. It's just very simple and straightforward. I tell you how it is on these little videos. They're like 5-minute videos, and I'm just like, hey, look, here's what it is. Here's what you can do, and here's what you're gonna get. If you want it, here's the price. If you don't want it, go on, move on. Move along. Don't worry. Let's go. So that's it, man. Those are the two courses.
Awesome, man. So there's going to be a link below the video for the people who watch this video. Get Jimmy Kim's course right now. And on top of that, they also get an autoresponder, Sendlane for free, right? For the first 90 days.
90 days plus the landing page builder as well.
And brandable ebook. That's a little bit.
You get all sorts of stuff. Brandable ebooks. You get what else do you get here? And I got a bunch of little bonuses in there. I think I just dropped a bonus in there. It was kind of cool. It's called Let Jimmy Write Your First Swipe for You. If you just send me all your information, including your page and everything. Basically, you show me you take action, I will finish your action for you. So it's a cool little thing, that I'm offering as well. So I've been offering little bonuses here and there. And of course, my support team is there to help you. The members area is really cool. It's all custom made and it's designed so that it's really easy to follow. It's very easy step by step. And I'm very proud of it. So I can't complain.
Last thing I want to ask you is that, I researched you and seen your presentation. You're all about taking action, right?
Yes.
If you were to meet the younger Jimmy from like 6 years ago, who was completely a newbie, what would you tell him to take action in specifically every day? to get to $10,000 a month from
take action every day. So really, if I were to go back and look at myself and say back then, I would have first focused, right? I keep talking about that, focusing, right? Focus on the one thing. Let's not try to do 15 things at once. I know we're all entrepreneurs in one way or another, and we all do different things. I've been able to manage my time better, but focus on one thing. Secondly, find what works and stick with it. Okay, stick with it and work it until you perfect it. It comes easier and easier every time. You know, with list building and making money, buying traffic and being able to return ROI, you should be able to make an ROI in 14 days, basically, right? That should be your goal. If you buy traffic in 14 days, you should be able to make your ROI. In a webinar I did Sunday night with a small group of people, I kind of showed it on screen and said, hey, in 14 days, you should be able to make this much money, right? You should be, let's just say you invested $500, right? In 14 days, you should be able to make your $500 back, right? And then in 28 days, you should start seeing profit. And then in 30 days, let's just say, you should actually be in almost double profit, right? You should be at least 100% ROI. Now, if you take that same 500 plus the 500 you made and reinvest it to 1,000, now let's snowball that, right? 1,000, you make your 1,000 in 14 days, then you make another 1,000 in the next 14 days after that. So you take that 2,000 you made there plus the 500 you're still making over here, and you start adding it together. Now you can invest 2,500 and so forth. You don't need a huge, large investment up front. You take that small investment today and you make it snowball into a much bigger number. And that's what I did back in August, basically. Just to give you a touch on that, I started very small just because I wanted to test my theory and prove my theory. So I said, I'm going to invest just a small amount of money. Next thing I know, I'm investing like $12,000 at one point, you know, like at a time when I'm buying. But it was really cool because it only started at a very small amount of money. After that $12,000, I was done. I didn't actually invest any more money out of my own pocket. I built a list of over 60,000 people. And I was able to make $25,000 a month, month in, month out. I did it for a couple months, and then I'll be honest, I got lazy, right, with the personal development space. I'm still making, anytime I do mail it, I still make plenty of money off of it. It's really weird mentality, right, because I'm doing so much in my other businesses, you know, and that it makes it really hard for me. But I'm still making on autopilot money. Like I think I made like 5 or 6 grand just this last week with that little old list from July still, just that list that I've just been building, you know. And it was, the coolest part is I didn't use my name. I didn't use my brand. I didn't use any of my tech team. I didn't use any of my sources that I usually did. I did everything sourced brand new. That was the coolest part behind it. So, you know, that's the coolest part behind it. So my takeaway here is, if I look back, I say take action on one step. Keep focusing on the one thing that you know that works, and just keep going at it until you get better and better. And don't be afraid to reinvest that money. Just because you make $100, don't be afraid to reinvest that into your business. This is a business. Just because we don't have a brick and mortar and product, our brick and mortar is our computer. Our product is our affiliate programs, and your tools are your employees, right? Those are the way you have to look at it, right? It's the same thing as a business. A lot of people just don't put that together, and they just think, as soon as I make $1, I got to pull it out and run away with it, right? It's not like that. You can't pull away, run away with it. You'll never get to the 5-figure, 6-figure income, 7-figure income if you just pull away with it. You know, you got to invest a lot of money to make more money. So. Right.
Well, thank you for your time, Jimmy. I appreciate the interview, and I hope the launch goes really well. Is this an evergreen launch for the long run? Or?
Actually, no. So it's not an evergreen launch. I'm actually only opening it for 7 days. Now, for you, BJ, if you have a private link, I can get you set up with a private link so you'll always have access to promote it. But I'm actually closing it down on Monday, the 19th or 18th, I'm sorry, at midnight. I'm closing the public access down on purpose because I want to concentrate on the students I have. Right? I want to concentrate on who I have. Let's work with who I have, instead of just making this evergreen product where everybody is just trying to get caught up with everybody. I want everybody in together, and then we can move as a group together, right? I can't promise that I'm going to have a huge success rate with everybody because I can't force anyone to take action, but I will promise that if you do take action, you will have success. I mean, this math is so simple. I mean, the simplicity of this course at the end of the day, you know, that's the coolest part about it.
Thank you for this interview, Jim.
Of course, man. Of course. Not a problem. I'm happy to be here and happy to have done this and happy to have taken my time to do it. So
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man.
Take care.
All right, bye.